Namaste, Prakash here. It's indeed my fortune to meet each and every one of you through this new episode, which I intend starting from this day. Dharma Tales. Let's debate is the concept behind this series of video episodes that we're going to have in YouTube and in other social media channels. And based on some of the thoughts and stories and anecdotes and real life case studies that I share in these videos, we'll be discussing a few issues which are extremely important in the context of the current human life in this planet. If you look at the definition of what dharma is, there is no one single definition which would fit the bill saying that this is what it is, and that is the beauty of what dharma is. If you take the religion of Buddhism, Dharma, they talk about a cosmic law and order. In some of the religious parlance, they also call Dharma as the universal truth. If you look at the etymology, the word Dharma has several roots, and one of the root comes from Dhr, which also means to hold, to maintain, to keep. Overall, if you really look at Dharma, spiritual scriptures from ancient India, and even if you look at many of the other spiritual systems and values and belief systems of the world, you can broadly agree that the word Dharma stands for that which upholds the universe. Dharma is that which upholds the universe. Extremely powerful word, and that is precisely the reason why I chose this, and in the current context of why this word assumes significance. If you really look at the perspective of dharma, you have the individual dharma, you have the dharma of the society, you have the dharma of the nation, you have the dharma of the world, you have dharma of the universe itself. None of them are alone. Each are intertwined in some way where each has to hold like a fabric. If even one thread has to fall off, in all probability the fabric will become loose and lose its structure and become useless. And that is what dharma is. Imagine if dharma is what upholds the universe, what would happen if dharma is not upheld in the first place? The universe will go into chaos. If you really look at the yugas in which the classification of the world is made, at least according to the Hindu scriptures, it starts with Satya Yuga, moves on to Treta Yuga, then goes to Dwapara Yuga, and then it moves on to Kali Yuga. Each of the Yuga, it is said that it is 1/4 of the earlier Yuga, both in terms of the longevity, the number of years that spans that Yuga, and also in the value systems or Dharma itself, which actually means what was in Satya Yuga becomes 1/4 in Treta Yuga in terms of the values that people uphold or believe in. The same happens in Dwapara Yuga where it becomes 1/4. And the same happens in Kali Yuga where it becomes 1/4. Imagine where it started as one and it becomes 1/4 and then 1/4 and 1/4, where we are today, which actually means Kali is the lowest level where Dharma is being upheld. This is something that we keep seeing day in and day out in all the worldly affairs that we go through. When it is said that Mahabharata, which preceded Kali Yuga, which was about to end, the Dwapara Yuga was about to end, and when he was ruling after they had won the Kurukshetra war, Bhima was supposed to be the minister in charge who used to handle many of the complex issues before it was brought to the king or Dharma. Once he had two or three peculiar cases which came within 1 or 2 days to him, and Bhima, being what he is, he was in a way sort of not able to handle these four queries. The first one is when one of the peasants he came one of the, you can say, the subjects of the country, he came and then he said, he found that his fence was automatically moving into the neighbor's place without him doing anything. And Bhima was not able to understand what it really meant. He was confused. And then there was another person who came and then said he had a big pot full of water, and he put the pot full of water into four smaller pots, and they all got filled, which means it was divided equally between the four pots. And when he put the water back from the four pots into the big pot was not filling up, which means there is in some way a shortage of water, though there was no physical seepage. The third case was when a person came and complained, saying that he saw a big elephant going through the eye of the needle. And as it crossed the eye of the needle, the tail got stuck in the eye of the needle. All this really confused and bemused Bhima. And then there was a fourth one which came. He said there was a very big rock on the street, and everyone wanted to move and nobody was able to move. And then finally a sadhu came and then he waved his danda, and then automatically the stone moved. All these four episodes sort of confused Bhima, and then he went to Dharma, Yudhishthir, and then asked him, what does it really mean? And then Yudhishthir closed his eyes for a moment and then tells him that Kali Yuga is born. These are the very clear qualities, that the values by which, even in Dwapara Yuga, when it was already one-fourth of what it was in Satya Yuga, it has already come down. Imagine it coming down further, where the value has dwindled a lot. And this is what Yudhishthira was saying, that now Kali is born. Let's look at what the Lord himself, Lord Krishna himself, said in Bhagavad Gita. In the verses 7 and 8 of chapter 4, he starts the recitation, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata. And then he goes on to explain what it really means. Whenever he said the religion or the values or dharma degrades, or dharma is in the peril of being annihilated, he will come back and then take birth to ensure that it is upheld again. But if you really look at it, compared to one key that he also gave in Gita, he said indirectly that I may not always come, but I will always be in the hearts of every person who holds me true to his heart. Which means Lord Krishna or any of the messengers or the Messiah of any of the religions that you believe in comes back in some way through us to uphold Dharma. We can't always wait for a Messiah or a person to come and deliver us into a better place by ensuring that Dharma is upheld. Those days, if you really looked at it, Dharma was not being administered by one or two kings, and it was very easy for the avatars to come down, finish them off, and then restore Dharma. When now that almost everyone is following the principles of some of the Asuric principles, where is the question of one Lord coming down and removing all this in one stroke? Which also means, to a great extent, the onus is on us, each and every one of us, to uphold Dharma. It doesn't mean you take a gun and shoot, or you go around killing people. It's not that. It is about a proper cleansing of the system through proper ethical, moral means. Because in the name of Dharma, if you're going to take Dharma into your hands, what is likely to happen? Chaos will prevail. And for this to happen, what we need to do is to ensure that we all understand the principles of Dharma, and through a series of tales relating to Dharmic principles, to make people understand what Dharma is from various walks of life: Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, whatever may be the religion. Whoever might have shared stories or concepts or ideas in this regard, we'll be sharing through these various episodes and then putting up questions for you to. I'm not going to give in any of these stories answers directly. Each one of us have the vairagya, or the ability to discriminate, what we also call as viveka. We have both the qualities, viveka and vairagya, for us to really dwell into these concepts to find what exactly Dharma is. What are we supposed to do? How long can you keep on closing your eyes? And of course, like any good stuff, change happens first with us. For us to change, for us to look within us, I'll be placing a series of stories, and at the end of each story, I may be asking a few questions. It's up to you to introspect, up to all of us to introspect and share through the various social handles I'll be posting this. You can share your responses below the YouTube link that you're watching, or if you find it in FB or in Twitter or on any of the other social media handles, feel free to post your answers below. Let's develop a positive culture around what Dharma is. Before change happens, we need to clear the darkness, and clearance of darkness comes, ignorance rather, comes through lighting of the lamp, which is nothing but sharing of knowledge. All these videos that you're going to see over a period of time, that's why I've named it as season 1 episode 1 to start with. I don't know how long it will take, but as long as it takes, I'll be doing it both in English and in Tamil, so that it reaches as much audience as possible. It's up to us to go deeper, dive deeper, find what exactly Dharma is, and start making the changes first within ourselves. Ask questions, positively influence people, bring the dharmic values. After all, if a pandemic can really strike terror in our hearts, imagine what all more can happen if Dharma is not being upheld. And it is up to each and every human being to uphold Dharma and participate in some way in making this a world momentum. It is world movement rather. It is in our hands to ensure that the change happens by changing ourselves. Our ability to ask questions, ability to understand the various principles of Dharma. In our quest for continuous acquisition of material properties, it is a possibility that we might have missed some of these value systems. It's up to us to dive deeper, find the pearls, come and share with all those who haven't yet seen it. Let's make it into a big movement and see how we can influence each other. And once we are able to uphold, I'm very certain that good tidings, which are supposed to be there in the first 3 yugas, will automatically come, even in this yuga, which is considered to be the lowest of all yugas, or Kali Yuga. Let's debate. Dharma tales, let's debate. Thank you.